Hello, what's up, people of the internet? Today I'm gonna talk to you about the Anker charger, 250 watts, a bit pricey to be fair, and I want to go through as well some general advice on how to preserve your battery on your smartphone and specifically on your iPhone, but probably the same with others. So you have 250 watt on this charger with four USB-C, two USB-A, and smart power control. They do not mention the iPhone 16 on the packaging, but don't worry, it will work with any kind of USB device. And they claim that 80 million of customer are happy. Seems a bit high, but like, I don't know. So with this charger, obviously, you will be fine to connect to your phone, even a few laptops, so I can easily connect two MacBook Pro together. And did I mention it was a connected charger? Yeah, so it has Wi-Fi in this app, so you can check and change some settings through the app. I have to admit that I'm a big fan of wireless charger. I have a lot throughout the house, but they do charge your battery a bit more than they should, so they could lead to issue with the battery. It's not too much a big deal, but it could reduce your battery life a bit faster, especially if you have a case. The charger itself is a bit smaller than I expect, so it's not too bad. You can see there's a little knob to change some settings. It does also have a display, so you can have the time right there, a bit like a retro clock. Not really for me though, because personally I very like dark rooms, so but it's up to you. And you have some information about the charger itself and how to connect stuff and the QR code to download the app. So that's the same that Anker Solix. So I do own some solar panel and batteries, so I have the app already. But I'm gonna go through that with you as well. So I'm gonna download the app right now. So showing you the clock at nighttime, so you can go lower brightness at this. I have my Apple Watch on the side, as you can see. I don't really need that kind of stuff, but it could be handy for some of you. Anyway, so let's download that app here. So for that, you just open your camera, at least on iPhones, and you will be able to scan the QR code. But obviously, you have also the chooping plug to connect to the outlet. So that's kind of handy if you travel around, if you happen to have different cables. Like personally, I travel a lot to the UK and Ireland, so I just bring the charger with my own UK cable. This one is a typical European plug because I bought on Amazon.fr, and it does not come with adapters, so you have to provide your own if you don't have your own cables. But to be fair, I don't really like when they provide international adapter because they're usually very cheap and bad qualities and a lot of plastic waste as well. So now you have four USB-C, as I mentioned, and two USB-A. They all do have individual settings, so you can change the power for one and have a different one for the other one, or have a different timer, as I'm going to show you in a minute. And on the display, you can see the power usage. So my watch is fully charged. Is a wireless device, so it would use a bit more, and that's why you see 0.5. So going through the knobs, you can go through different USB ports. You can go to the settings, change the brightness, the screen timeout, the modes, the knob orientation, the Wi-Fi settings, which by the way you need to enable to pair with the app. So let me do that right now. Just pressing there and going through my phone, scanning that QR code I told you before, and then pressing on the link is redirecting me through Safari and then to the App Store, assuming you're going through the same process on Android with the Play Store. And as I mentioned, I already have the app because I have this solar anchor stuff. So I just need to add this specific charger, which is there. We do have this Wi-Fi icon blinking, so that's perfect. And it should take a few minutes just to connect. I'm just gonna fast forward this process. Looking to Home Assistants, I do see them already, but unfortunately is displaying 0 watt. So I guess that might come in the future. At least I hope because you could do some quite good automatization with it. But to be fair, this is not official Anchor apps or add-ons, should I say. Anyway, so going back to the pairing process, going fast forward the screen. So apparently you can use Bluetooth too. I'm gonna go through Wi-Fi and select my SSID. And again, it should take a few sec. So we all set. So let's check the settings so we can see I have 5 watt on for C4 at the moment, which is probably my Apple Watch. For the setting, we have a few on. The test features which allow us to have a custom current. And I'm gonna go through the firmware update first to make sure that we have all the settings. It did take a lot of time. I just fast forward like crazy. Then the device go offline, obviously, and it should come back very soon. So my iPhone is not connected in C1. As you can see, 14.4 watt. This charger should allow you to charge at the fastest speed possible for your device, but I would recommend you actually to do the opposite because as faster you go, just like a EV, is gonna get your battery quite hot and degrade the battery. You do as a charger, so mine set for 5:30 a.m., meaning it's not gonna have any power before that. And I just want to show you some iOS settings, which is probably the same for other phones. You probably already know them, but there's a few things you can do to save a bit of batteries. First, it would be a good idea to kill some background apps, as that will use some significant amount of battery in some cases. So you can go through the settings and have a look and disable the one you don't need to. Also, I would recommend you to check what battery, or should I say, what app actually using most of the battery. So you can go through the setting and have a look of the percentage as number of hours for specific apps. This is basically what's drain your battery the most. So it's a good idea to check this screen time to time. Also, if you don't have a lot of service, I would recommend you to put airplane mode on because that is a lot of energy to try to find the signal from the towers. So that's something to bear in mind. And obviously, as well, when you use data, 5G is using a lot more than 4G, so you could use 4G instead. I mean, I keep 5G for myself, but it's up to you. I do change my phone every single years, but it's still good to preserve the battery because if you want to give to your siblings or to your family, or even for the resale value. So you all know, I suppose, how to enable the airplane mode, but it's quite straightforward and it will save you a significant amount of batteries. A few things to take in consideration as well is the notification. So you could disable notification. You don't need to because every time you're going to turn on your screen and obviously use some battery. And same for always on display, it will obviously use some battery. So if you don't need it, just turn it off. One of the big thing as well is the brightness. So that's quite obvious, but as lower that you go and less battery you use, and opposite as high, more battery. So that's something to take in consideration. I know I always have my own full. So going back for the app of this charger, as you can see, you have different charging mode like high power mode because everything needs to be AA these days. You have a dual laptop mode and a low current mode, which didn't work when I tried. And you have this custom setting, so you can go to 15 watt or more, but you can go under 50 watts for some reason. It won't let you pick less than 15 watts. But 15 watt is pretty decent, is pretty optimal for battery charging. I wouldn't go as fast unless I really need to charge my phone very fast. Obviously, it's gonna make the battery a bit more hot, so the less you go, the less power you go, the better it is. And as I charge my phone during nighttime, I don't very mind. I did set mine to start charge at 5 a.m. or something like this, so it won't charge before that, and then slowly charge until I wake up, which is sometime around 7 or less. You can disable some specific ports. So let's say you only want to use S1, you can disable all the other ones. You can set a schedule as I just mentioned, and you have the overall power usage. Minimum brightness is 20%. I wish it was lower than this, but that's the way it is. And you have these secret features that's supposed to unlock as more that you use the device. I did use every single menu, but it's still it's still locked, sorry. So no clue what it is. And as I mentioned, the brightness go from 20% to 100. And regarding the time out of the screen is at least 30 seconds. I wish we could select less, but we can, so that's the way it is. You can do select time. So as I mentioned before, you can go there and go on clock display. You have a holiday update, which I don't know what it is for. I would assume maybe for time zone change. And you have the clock with the US date. So it's quite actually annoying for me. even though I work with US date at work for the last decade, but I can set to the European date anyway. You can change the direction of the knob forward or backward, and you have this custom charging mode that you can select for each different port on your device. Anyway, that's it for the video. See you next time and have a good one.